So we're gonna go off of that same position. So my partner's stepping in, and again, we'll address some other passes, right? There's 3 routes that someone can take to pass your guard. They can either go through, they can go around, or they can try and go under, which is kind of like a combination of going under and around. So today we'll cover all 3 of those things. Okay. So again, we have our really early defense, and again, this is like before someone has settled all of their weight kind of in this hip pocket here, right? I'm framing and I'm making sure I'm repelling, okay? If for whatever reason I feel like Jess is really starting to kind of isolate this bottom leg, then we have to switch our frames from these little V frames here to I'm going to frame with my top arm across and the crook of her kind of armpit here. So I can go armpit, elbow, or wrist, but while we're kind of in this area, I feel like I always have accessibility to just kind of straightening my arm out in the armpit here, okay? If I was in the gi, I wouldn't put 4 of my fingers in the collar because now there's this bend in my arm, okay? So if I was attacking, maybe I would have 4 fingers in the gi, but if I'm framing in the gi, I'm gonna take this far collar here and I'm just gonna punch it across the throat, right? So that person is running into their own collar, okay? So this frame, again, would be the same as if she was wearing a collar and I was framing across, okay? My bottom arm is going to go underneath my knee and it's going to grab the heel, okay? It's not that it's wrong to frame in front of her shin, but I feel that there's just like a really good kind of like lifting mechanism, and the lower I go on her lever, the lighter it's going to be. Okay, so I'm framing across on her shoulder here, and I'm taking my bottom arm, and I'm literally cupping her heel in the palm of my hand here, okay? I'm still keeping my outside leg up and active, I'm just not able to re-pummel it in right away, okay? So the more pressure I get from Jess, the better it's going to be for me, right? Because now I can start lifting, switching my frames, and going out the back, okay? So our reverse daily Heva hook does a few different things. So it not only can kind of like push pull, but it can cylinder like up, okay? So ultimately I know that my partner wants to obviously pass my guard. 1, I'm not giving her that space because I'm not reaching with my bottom arm. And 2, right, I'm sending her a little bit further than she actually wants to go, okay? So I'm dumping her in an empty space as I'm kind of going out the back. So if you have not done this kind of motion, then we can just practice doing a few cylinders. So I'm really, again, keeping my feet super active. So they're always hooks, okay? Very rarely in jiu-jitsu, with the exception of like heel hooks and my like pointing my toes, okay? So hooks here, I have my bottom arm kind of like tucked underneath my leg, right? Just as a reminder that if I want to kind of rotate onto that side, that arm has to be tucked anyway, okay? I'm grabbing the heel, and then as my partner is kind of giving me that forward-like pressure, right, as if they were going to knee slide pass, I am lifting with the heel, and I'm cylindering up, okay? So I'm moving or shooting them, again, a little bit further than they actually want to go, okay? So again, my arm is underneath, my foot is hooked again on my partner's thigh here, and as they start to move, then I'm just cylindering and lifting them up, okay? So again, I'm framing with this top arm, my bottom hand comes underneath on the heel. As soon as I feel that forward like pressure, I'm lifting here, okay? Now it's not just me trying to like crawl through my partner, which I've definitely seen people before. It's kind of a bummer, but it's just making sure that you guys are as like ball-like as possible, okay? So again, underneath, I'm lifting, or I move my partner, I'm still kind of really bringing my knee close to my chest. That's gonna kind of help with the momentum of coming out the back, okay? So again, if you don't have a dummy or an object that you can work that with, then just start on your back. Again, knees close to your chest. I'm using that kind of really keeping that hook active. So my knees kind of turned out a little bit. My bottom arm is hooking my pretend heel here. And again, as I feel that forward pressure, then I'm cylindering and I'm lifting as I'm kind of coming out the back. So here, and then kind of moving. You guys want to try that a couple times?
You seem very comfortable in the format. Like, it's pretty impressive.
I agree. I kind of like the Facebook Live stuff.
Yeah.
Because you can actually really see what films have
you wouldn't be able to tell this is your first time. I've done a lot of live streaming.
I think part of it is like that book.
Hey, Amanda, you got a question from Rose that just came in. If you could show up
Hey,
one more time.
Rose. I'm going to read it. Let's see. Can you show one more time? I suppose, Rose. Okay.
Thanks.
Is there, let me see if I can, I'm going to tilt this down a little bit more. Okay.
So I'm really hooking with this reverse De La Riva hook here. The frame on the shoulder is really important because I don't want this person to get chest-to-chest contact. Once that happens, it's kind of ruined at that point. Again, my bottom arm is coming underneath my leg and it's grabbing my partner's heel, okay? So the more my partner tries to pass, the more this kind of aids me in going out the back, okay? So again, we're just dumping our partner or we're moving them a little bit more forward than they actually want to go, okay? So as soon as Jess gives me that pressure, I'm lifting, right? I have the heel kind of hook here. My arm is coming underneath. My left leg is really kind of coming close to my chest, which is helping me move out the back, right? And then I can double butterfly hook. There are other, things that we can do from that position. But ultimately, I'm just trying to move them forward as I come out the back. So it's really, again, I can kind of force this pressure if I have to, but I would rather my partner on top give me that pressure so that it's, I don't have to use that force, right? Or use as much strength or whatever, to kind of move them forward. So the more my partner kind of knee slides past, I can kind of cylinder like with that hook, which kind of helps move them forward. And then I'm just kind of turning out the back. Does that help, Rose?
Yeah, that's really helpful. Thank you.
Jess, have you ever seen anyone else do the heel cupping? I have never seen that. I was telling her yesterday, to me, that is very unique to her.
Right, for sure.
Is that okay? Because I've never seen probably half of what she's presenting today as far as guard retention.
I just make it up.
Well,
Why she's here.
but like, right? Like the foot out versus in on that hip. Like, and I was telling her, I said, this is very unique to you. Like, it's marketable. Like for videos.
I don't know about that.
It is. I'm buying videos left and right
For sure.
right now during quarantine. And I told her there's absolutely no reason why she can't be making the money that I'm giving to other people.
I think eventually, that
Yeah.
that's
This is a
create
great
library.
Yeah.
for real. Like,
All right. Does everyone feel pretty good with that? If not, if this is your first time, make that money, yo. Thank you. If this is your first time doing like any of the reverse daily Hiba stuff, because I know it's like there's daily Hiba and the reverse daily Hiba, and sometimes we have a tendency to kind of like fall in love with one and not really the other. Obviously for me, I love the reverse daily Hiba, but that's because I don't know, I just find it like very universal, because I don't have to rely on the grips. If I'm playing no-gi, obviously, like sometimes the regular daily Hiba can be a little bit more challenging for me, because I don't have that posture break from the person on top. But yeah, don't be too hard on yourself. Obviously, some of you don't have partners, so it's like even more challenging, right? But as soon as all this crazy Corona stuff is over, you guys are going to be right back in the gym, and it's going to be awesome, and it's going to be like you never left, right? So I don't want anyone to think that like, oh, I'm getting worse at jiu-jitsu, because I don't believe that's true, right? You're fine. Let's see. And the only is hard for me because of past knee surgery, but reverse it. Sweet. Wait, let me read these comments. Sorry, guys. Thank you, Katie. Awesome, Bethany. Cool. Very cool. Okay, so we're gonna move on. All right, so again, off of this same reverse daily Hiba position here, I'm going to, again, continue framing across on my partner's shoulder, and Jess is still gonna give me some really forward knee slice pressure. So maybe I wasn't able to necessarily get my arm underneath, or for whatever reason, I'm just not able to access the heel, okay? So instead, I'm gonna take either a 2-on-1, again, it can be on the shoulder and then one on the wrist. If I feel like Jess is really moving forward here, I'm going to take my top leg and I'm going to butterfly hook it so we're almost laces to laces here. Okay, so my left leg is connected to her right leg here. Okay, now I'm going to do a combination of, I'm just going to do a little push or a little lift with my reverse daily Hiba hook as I'm scooping my left leg out. And that's just to get my bottom leg back out. Okay, and then I can re-pummel from there. So again, my partner steps in. I have a nice 2-on-1. Maybe I wasn't able to get underneath, or the heel just is too far away. Okay, so I'm just going to scoop here. Again, this works best if I'm on my side. So a lot of these things, you're like, maybe it's not working. Just tilt your hip out a little bit more. Okay, so I'm taking my top foot, I'm hooking it here, and I'm just using this to release the pressure off of my bottom leg. So a little push, a little extension, a little scoop, and then I'm just replacing my foot right back on the hip and squaring right back up, okay? Here, okay? So just a little scoop. Another little fun thing that we can also do, if you guys are into attacking the head at all, I'm taking my bottom arm, I'm still framing on that arm, but my top arm is just a little hook here now, okay? So that same movement, except now when I lift, I'm just gonna dump her in that space, okay? But again, I have to be on my side in order for me to have success with that, or you're just kind of like pulling the person right on top of you. Okay, so I'm scooping out, I'm making sure I'm on my side so that I'm dumping them in that empty space. Okay, one more time. Go ahead, I'm framing. I have my like nice little short necktie here. My bottom arm is just still kind of monitoring my partner's passing arm here. I wasn't able to get underneath, so I'm taking my top leg and I'm doing a nice little foot hook here. Again, I'm just lifting, or I have a little bit of an extension with my reverse daily Hiba hook, and then I'm using my top leg to scoop for a second. Okay, so I'm not holding that leg for a long period of time. Okay, so a little scoop, I dump the head, and now I can attack. You guys want to try a couple of those, and then we'll continue on. Breathing so hard. Watching everyone with these dummies is really cool. Yeah, she's on here. She's awesome. She's so cute. had about this stuff last night. I feel like
You were freaking out during the meeting.
absolutely. There was one time we had like these like camps, you know, but it's just like SVG camps. And the first time they had asked me to teach, I had like an anxiety, panic attack for like sobbing and like hyperventilating in the office. I was like, I can't do it. And then and then it was fine. Yeah. But yeah, John was also there though too. He's a really good assistant. But even like when I did the no-gi summit, I was just like,
Because, I mean, maybe it's not, but it seems unique to you is going for that inside heel foot. Because I've always been taught to go for that leg on the side and then kind of do it like an X guard. But like what she's doing is so interesting as far as taking.
killing it, Rose. Looks really good.
I love it.
Pender too. Nice. And then I don't know if this is a lot of material or a lot of stuff for you guys. So just kind of let me know if we have room or if you guys want more or less or any specific requests. But I was going to do some tripod pass defense, or if someone just tries to run around the legs, what to do for that. And then if you have someone that is really good at double underpassing you, we'll go over some defense for that. But again, I don't want to give you guys too much information. I want you guys to be able to kind of like practice this stuff and remember it. So I don't want to just be like vomit techniques or concepts at you guys. So just kind of let me know. Keep me honest. I like feedback. Criticism is fine. You guys can tell me you're trash. It's fine. I'll give you guys another minute or so, and then we'll continue on. The more, the better. Okay. Well, in that case, I've got all day, guys. All right. All right. Thank you. Okay, so those are some helpful tools for me when I have someone just trying to like blast through my guard. Again, it's all about the frames. Okay, so replacing one frame for another and making sure that I'm not caught flat on my back, because I think that's the worst. And then again, making sure that I'm repummeling that top leg. So again, it's not just my bottom leg. It's not just me reaching with my arms, right? Because those things aren't really the best, but kind of keeping that top leg kind of repummeling. And it's something that I probably should have talked about in the beginning, but we generally have like two postures or two structures that I'm working with. And this is, for me, like a very common theme throughout jiu-jitsu. So either we're like slightly rounded, and if we're rounded, that generally means we're probably going underneath someone. So whether we're inverting or we're kind of like loading that weight up, I'm kind of more in like a ball-like form, or my tailbone is kind of off the mat. But I can't really do that all the time, right? Because that makes me really vulnerable to kind of being tilted to the side or just kind of having my guard blown past. So I don't really have necessarily a name for this. My friend Almin kind of calls it like a tugboat posture, but I'm making sure that I'm keeping my shoulders and my tailbone on the mat. And you can see that, like, if there was a little boat that can go through my lower back, that right, this is like a real exaggeration, but this is like a nice heavy posture. So once we kind of get into our double underpass, I absolutely have to have heavy shoulders and heavy hips, okay? If you've ever had problems finishing a triangle, it's because you're like really compact like this, okay? So ultimately, in my opinion, I shouldn't have to pull down on someone's head to finish a triangle. I should be able to do it with the posture or the structure of my body, okay? So locking it in and getting really heavy here to where
I don't get moved to the side or I don't get stacked, right? It would technically be the same thing when I'm going to finish an arm bar as well. If my shoulders are off the mat, that generally means my tailbone is starting to round too, and then I get stacked, okay? So making sure that we have this nice big posture. It's the same thing if I were escaping mount bottom. It can be the same thing if I'm trying to escape cross-sides bottom, depending on where that person is on top of me, okay? So when you guys are playing guard, I really want you to think about the structure, the frame of your body, not just where you're putting your arms and your legs, okay? With that being said, we're gonna go over our tripod pass defense, okay? So what this means is maybe Jess started in a knee slice position here, right? She's controlling my hip, she's controlling my knee. She knows that she can no longer go through my guard. So as a smart player, she's going to try and go around my guard. So she's really going to kind of like plank or move her weight all the way back to where, yes, it's isolating this hip, it's pinning my bottom knee. And if I don't do anything, right, she's just gonna start walking around and she can either pass with the knee on belly or kind of that chest to chest. If we're in the gi, sometimes she might have a collar and then the outside of my pants, and you'll see it more of like an X passer or whatever you may tend to call it, okay? So these frames aren't going to work. So I'm going to make sure that as soon as I feel her hips lift, I have a 2-on-1, okay? Now my bottom leg, I can't just have it out here, okay? So even though she's maybe trying to push it down or she's applying weight to it, I have a 2-on-1, but I'm really coiling. I'm bringing everything back towards my chest, okay? So still keeping my knees up and active, my feet are still active. I have a 2-on-1, and my 2-on-1 is, I have this same frame, so it's a nice long frame across, and my bottom arm is a hook. So it's just underneath the wrist, okay? So as Jess starts to move around, I'm going to kick with the knee, I'm gonna bring it right back, and my foot replaces where my hand was, okay? This is going to allow me to square back up, and now again, I can re-pummel that top leg over. And some of you may ask, like, well, does it have to go over the arm? It doesn't have to go over the arm. If you can re-pummel it on the hip, I think that's fine. I think it's just kind of like a preference thing, okay? Again, it should feel like if Jess was trying to pass and she was just continued walking around, she would almost move me like in a circle. Yes, this kind of movement here, okay? So she can't pass without her passing on, okay? So again, my knees are coiled in. I'm going to kick down as I remove that frame, and then I bring it right back to my chest as I square back up and re-pummel. Okay, let's do that a couple times, guys.
So awesome. We have never seen the opposite. Okay. Okay. Very cool.
He's being so good. He's a little shit. Like on the walk here, like for the first, I don't know, 10 minutes, I have to like pull him. Yeah, it drives me nuts.
And it's fine.
But then once we get going, he's like, oh yeah.
Like a little kid, I can do that with Hannah.
What time is it on me?
It is.
How's everybody doing? Good? Great. You enjoying yourselves? Start practicing my Netflix special.
So again, with that tripod pass, or that obviously the defense that we're working on bottom, really, really important to keep the knees close to the chest. Just think that like everything is spring loaded, okay? So the harder your partner tries to pass, the easier it should be for you to kind of remove those frames and replace it with the foot on the bicep, okay, or the foot in the crook of the elbow there. If you guys are ready, we can move on here.
Okay, so if for whatever reason, maybe I was playing guard or had some maybe crummy attachments, and my partner kind of dives for that, the double unders here, okay? So what Jess wants to do obviously is get both of my knees or my legs kind of close together. She's really pressuring into me, and she's kind of getting my spine to round here so that she can make it easy for her to turn the corner, right? Yeah, now both of my knees and both my legs are facing the same direction. They're also extended, okay? So from here, we can go over probably some early, mid, and late defense, okay? So most of the time, I feel like this is kind of a common pass where a lot of us can kind of see it coming, especially if someone's going for the double unders and not just kind of one over, one under, okay? So as soon as I feel her diving underneath, I need to make sure that my heels and my feet come out to the side, and I immediately take my hands, I lock them in, and then I'm overarching here, okay? So for whatever reason, I feel like it's similar to someone playing spider guard where this person will lock in so hard and then they just get that tunnel vision and they don't get that they can detach from this person. Does that make sense? So if all I have to do is kind of like lock in this frame, this person can try and like deadlift me or move me around, and they're just expending a ton of energy, okay? So again, you can have your dummy, or you can just kind of prop your legs up, but as soon as you feel someone go underneath, I'm making sure that my heels are coming out, right? So I'm engaging my feet, I'm making my legs as heavy as possible, and I'm just taking my hands and I'm hooking them into the back of the shoulders. If I can kind of get a slight bend in here, then I'm just locking in all of these frames here, okay? But what's most important is what I'm doing with my entire body, or the structure of my body. So again, I'm making my hips really heavy and my shoulders really heavy, okay? And I'm keeping my head off the mat, because we have a tendency, especially in this position, if our head comes off the mat, then our shoulder tends to round, and then our spine, or our tailbone rather, kind of pops off the mat a little bit, okay? So especially for this couple of seconds or however long they're fighting from this position, I need to stay as heavy as possible so that I don't end up rounding and getting turned here, okay? So if you guys want to practice just kind of like locking in that frame, like making your body as heavy as possible. So again, gluing the shoulders, head, and tailbone to the mat. We'll kind of go over how to repummel from there next. Nice. Tyler's got a sweet partner. Looks really good.
Awesome. All right, guys, we're gonna move on. So again, that's something that you can practice, again, not only with your double unders, but think of like all your triangle finishes. Think about incorporating that posture in your mount bottom escapes, right? Because either we want to keep our partner as far away as possible, or we want to be as close to them as possible, right? So again, kind of incorporating the whole self-defense thing into the jiu-jitsu, right? If someone is kind of like in the middle, if they can touch my head, then they can probably punch me in the face, which is not awesome, okay? If anybody has been punched in the face, you know that it's like not the best thing, okay? Right? I mean, with training and stuff, right? I hope that nobody's getting in fights. Wait, is there a question? It's very exciting. Are you overhooking the shoulders or upper arms? Oh, mostly, I guess the upper arms. So it's the shoulders would be hard to kind of grab. So I'm kind of going, I guess maybe my fingers are kind of touching the back of my partner's armpits. What was this here? Deltoid? Tricep?
Behind your armpit.
Behind your delt? Yeah, right. Yeah, like close to the delt. I hope that helps. Natalie, nice to see you. Hello. Okay. All right, so again, we're kind of in this double under position. I still want to have my heels out nice and wide, hooking behind. If I can kind of bend my elbows a little bit, this is great, okay? Now, depending on how close your partner's gotten, obviously, if they're like a, chest to hamstring, they're a little bit closer in, okay? So maybe I was a little lax with my posture initially. As soon as I feel my partner starting to turn this corner, I have to switch, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to shove up on this elbow. My knee is gonna come in, and then I make sure that my outside foot goes around the back here, okay? If my right foot can hook across my partner's belt line, this is going to be best, okay? I don't know if this position has like a particular name. I know my good friend, Coach John Diggins, would call this box guard here. So we can call it box guard, or you can call it whatever you want, okay? But in any case, I'm just making sure that I'm repummeling my legs back in, okay? So I was here, I'm just like, this is not working. As soon as I feel them turn that corner, I'm pushing or shoving up on the elbow, okay? And notice, from the beginning, if my left elbow is not on the mat and just continues to get this pressure, I'm going to be moved to the side, okay? So that elbow on the mat, right, with our original hip tilt here, is helping us frame, right? It's stopping me from completely getting rolled to the side, okay? I can also lock in that frame, right? My hand just kind of framing on my knee here. Okay, so again, as she moves to the side, that frame is on the mat. I go with the elbow, I shove the elbow as my foot comes through, okay? Again, I would prefer if your shin was across your partner's belt line or across the stomach, and then I'm making sure that this leg goes over the top, okay? So the leg that's across my partner's belly, that foot is hooked on the side, so it should help prevent my partner from continuously passing to my left. And obviously she's gonna have a hard time kind of backing out, because at this point, right, we have all sorts of attacks and things that we can do from this position, okay? Obviously, my first would be if I can just get my guard back and not let that happen again, that would be fantastic, okay? So one more time, we're in this double under position. I've kind of missed the opportunity, or my partner has progressed. Elbow on the mat. I go at the elbow, the sooner the better. I push it up. I make sure that my knee rotates out and foot, or shin rather, is across my partner's belt line. My top leg comes over the top here. So again, still keeping my feet nice and active, so my left leg is kind of pressing down as if I had an arm bar, and my right foot is hooked across the belly. Awesome. Nice, Katie. That makes me feel really good. She said it was a position that she was getting into, but she didn't know what to call it. But now she has, validation. It's very awesome. It's nice to know I'm not just making these things up on my own. You guys are also creating jujitsu. Thanks, Ami.
No, thank you. This is great information.
That would be good. Yeah. Yeah. We can do like a afternoon session because they always do the evening ones. They're doing Monday, Wednesday, Friday stuff. Looks really good, guys. I see some people have left. They must have hated it.
No, they take their afternoon work off. So you're just 6 minutes over, that's all.
Oh yeah, I've been holding my poop too, so it's okay. Nice. So with that second one, just really making sure that we're kind of being ahead on the timing. So it's always, again, better to be early than it is to be late. So as soon as I feel that my partner like really trying to turn that corner, like the more I can, or the quicker I can push up on that elbow to re-pummel my leg in, the better. Because I feel like a lot of people from there, they're kind of in this weird over-under, but it's going to be tough for them to pass. Like as long as I get that shin in between the torso, they're really not going anywhere. And then there's some cool submissions and some cool attacks from there. But yeah, more importantly, again, we have our guard back and we're not kind of in that weird passing position. Okay, I think that's all I'm going to show today. But if you guys have any questions on anything that we've covered today or I have not covered, ask away. Or don't ask.